Alright, we're back. So as you may or may not know, Gold River did a stream for KR. The general purpose of the stream is to let people know what they have planned and what they're working on kind of when they're in the idea state. Everything's on the drawing board, nothing's set in stone, to kind of get early feedback from people and just to let them know that, hey, we're thinking about this and we're working on this. I think it's great. I think this kind of communicating, letting people know what's going on, keeping the player base in the loop of things is really good and healthy for the community, and it kind of keeps people a little bit hyped up. So in that stream, there was a lot of topics, but I really just want to talk about one in this video, and that one topic is going to be about solo content. So let's talk about the concept, the idea, and the purpose they have going with this. Now, the context given to us is actually about endgame. Endgame is perceived as the final 3 raids, the current 3 endgame raids that people go to. That's what everybody rushes towards. That's what people consider endgame. Everything until then is a catch-up game and all these other raids, in which, you know, it's a lot. In KR, the endgame is Voldus, Akkan, and Kangle, which means Volton, Vicus, Clown, Brel. Those are all just filler content, catch-up content that people have to try to burst through to and get through quick to get to the end game, because everybody's goal is generally to play end game and get to where everybody's at. And I know it, we all know it. The problem for new players is they can't get to that end game. It is a far-reaching goal to get to. New players are going to get gate-kept out of the game basically before they even get to that point. So their current proposal for end game and solo content is to make these earlier raids solo content, making it as sort of a catch-up mechanic. Obviously, I do mean solo content as a option. Now, one major point is this is going to be really good for new players learning the game, learning raids, because up till now, Smilegate has been kind of on the idea that, well, to help people out, to help new players out, we just need to push their item level faster. They didn't really think about everything else until recently, which on that topic, in this same stream, they do talk about horizontal progress and things that give power. They are going to try to make that easier for people to get, because obviously cards and skill points and everything like that, those are going to be other big things that gatekeep people. But that's not the topic of this video. I just want to bring that up real quick. But the point I was getting to is that they just push item levels so high that new players don't have to go through all the old dungeons. They don't have to go through too much. Hell, they can even just skip Argos basically and just jump straight into Volton and Vicus at this point with very minimal honing to get there. And this is exactly what bothers the experienced player. The experienced player doesn't want to deal with somebody new trying to learn all this stuff when they're just trying to get their homework done. They're trying to get it done. So that's why there's a lot of older players who are weary about big jumps and boosting new players up, because they're afraid that they're going to be their jailer. So giving new players the option to go through these raids solo, learn on their own, and really just have a stress-free environment where they're not have to worry about the entire party and holding them down. I think this can be a really great opportunity for new players, the new player experience, and even veteran players are going to benefit off this, because if they can still get raid rewards off of it, some people just might prefer to solo it, because in the same vein of not wanting to have somebody wipe their party because they're a newer player, they don't have to worry about 7 other people at all. They can just put it all up to themselves. Now, my first major worry or concern, I guess, would be on this topic of learning is, how much are they actually going to learn from this? Think of Vault and G1. Think about dealing with the multiple wolves, dealing with the orbs, or Vault and G2 dealing with like the counters that silence you, or really anything in Vicus G2, G3. Obviously, Vicus G1 has a lot of this too, but that's getting yeeted, so screw it. We're not talking about that. These are a lot of mechanics that require a lot of people, that require the raids. That means all these raids are going to need major overhauls for solo content. So it's pretty dependent on how much things change for the solo content to really transfer it over to normal content, because it might not prepare somebody properly, but it might just give people enough to kind of work with it. Which leads me to another topic in general, is difficulty of it. How hard they make this, how much they nerf the bosses for solo content is going to make a huge factor on if people do this or not. Because if you think about it as they propose it as a catch-up content for newer players, that means that it's probably going to be a lot easier for them to clear. And since it is designed as a catch-up content, that means there is going to be loot rewards from it. So if they make it piss easy where there's very, very few room for failure and you still get all the same rewards, that's going to stop a lot of older players, a lot of veteran players, a lot of people who are just doing it for homework to just solo the raid as opposed to playing it with people. In that same vein, especially if the rewards are the same for doing it on solo or not solo. Because if I know that I can solo clear it in the same amount of time that a party would, or even less, and I get the same amount of rewards, why would I ever party find it? Why would I want to deal with 7 other people who could wipe me if I'm that guy who's worried about new Mokokos being their jailer? So there is some concern that it might just kill the idea of running all this older content as a party. And just a reminder, they did address that back attackers and supports are going to be able to do this too. They have changes to do that. So difficulty and rewarding will really just affect how many people choose to do this and only this, as opposed to this being something just made for new players. because if it just has a little less reward, it might incentivize newer players to just do it once or twice and then go into grouping with normal people. But if it's the same again, I don't think people will group up for it if it is a lot easier to do solo. On the flip side though, if this becomes the norm to do solo content for a lot of people, that will really kill busing, because a lot of people who take the bus are going to be new players who can't get into parties, who have problems with it, or just lazy people. And depending on how easy it is, it might just coerce the lazy people to just do it. And obviously the people who get gatekept have nobody to gatekeep them. They're just going in solo. Alright, so let's be honest here. This is one of their solutions, one of their ways they're trying to avoid a tier 4. This is how they're trying to mitigate the time taken for the earlier raids, because right now you're going through at least 4 to 5 raids depending on what region you are to get to endgame. I never expected them to do a tier 4 to begin with, but this is a good piece of the puzzle where they could try to solve the issue. And I do mean a piece, because there is a lot of things they have to do to fix this game to make it more streamlined for a lot of newer players to get into the game. Because again, new players are the lifeblood of the game, and that is what they're trying to get at. That's why we have jumpstart servers. That's why they're going to be addressing horizontal content more. I'm very interested and very optimistic on seeing where this goes. I am, however, still again worried that this could kill off party play for earlier content. The experiences I had with my group, with the people I play with in these early raids, is what made part of the game. If I just cleared it solo, I don't think it would have been as great. I just wouldn't have that many of fun moments. But I do see the purpose of it, to having people who get gatekept or people who just want to get one done quick. It's good to have these options, especially for newer players who just, again, want a stress-free environment where they can go in and learn the raid and do it, even if it won't be one-to-one to the actual raid itself. Now, the other day when I was thinking about how they would deal with the bard issue and stuff like that, or I shouldn't say bard, but supports, I think it would actually be pretty cool if you were still solo, but you had a party and it was the 3 sidereals that are part of that raid. I think if you had them fighting alongside of you, it would be a really cool and fun experience. And that way they can kind of help fill the roles that you're missing, because again, if you're a support player, maybe they would all do damage, but if you were on a damage character, one of them would be kind of supporting. As opposed to, hey, if you're doing this on a bard, let's just make you juicy and powerful, and that's really it. Or if you're on a back attack, I make it so you have more damage on not back attack. I think those would be lazy ways of making it equal for all classes to do it. Well, I think, again, a concept like having the side rails fighting with you, I think that'd be pretty cool and very unique to the situation, give people a reason to run it solo and just have a different experience than they would running with a group. Now, obviously, I think something like that is very unlikely and very ambitious, but it was just a thought that came to mind that I just felt like voicing. And just a reminder, this is proposed as a catch-up mechanic, so you'd only see this for earlier raids. Pretty much any raid, I would assume, that isn't the current last 3 raids. So that'll be it for this video. That was my thoughts on how I think solo content for solo raiding could affect the game and what I would like to kind of see from it. But what about you? What do you think about solo content? What do you want to see from it? Do you even want it at all? Let me know in the comments and I'll catch you guys next time.